The massive alien fleet hung in the void above Earth like death itself. 300 ships, each one larger than any human city, blocked out the stars. The Galactic Council had finally come to judge humanity. Admiral James stood on the bridge of the United Earth Station, watching the display with grim determination. Around him, officers worked at their stations, trying to look brave despite knowing their defenses were useless. Earth had only 50 small patrol ships. The math was simple. The outcome was certain. "Sir, the Council flagship is hailing us," Lieutenant Miller reported, her voice steady despite her pale face. "Put them through," James ordered. The view screen flickered to life, revealing Ambassador Krell of the Galactic Council. The tall, gray-skinned alien looked down at them with 4 black eyes that held no mercy. Behind him stood representatives from 12 different species, all watching humanity's final moments. "Humans of Earth," Krell began, his voice echoing through the bridge. "You have been found guilty of possessing illegal technology. Your development of quantum drives without Council approval violates our oldest laws. The sentence is planetary restriction. You will surrender all space vessels and remain bound to your world for 1,000 cycles." James stepped forward. "Ambassador, we developed that technology independently. We didn't steal it from anyone. Impossible." Another alien, a blue-scaled creature named Vorak, interrupted. "Humans are Type 1 species. Your minds cannot comprehend such advanced physics. You must have stolen the knowledge." "We didn't steal anything," James insisted. "Humans are capable of more than you believe." Krell's eyes narrowed. "Your protests are noted and rejected. You have 1 hour to begin dismantling your fleet. Any resistance will result in immediate orbital bombardment." The transmission ended. The bridge fell silent. Everyone knew Earth's ships couldn't even scratch the Council's shields. Their weapons were generations behind. Their armor was paper-thin compared to alien hulls. "Sir," Lieutenant Miller whispered, "what do we do?" James looked at his crew. These brave men and women who had dedicated their lives to protecting Earth. He thought about the billions of people below, looking up at the sky in fear. He thought about humanity's dreams of exploring the stars, about to be crushed forever. Then he smiled. "Lieutenant, open a secure channel to Mars Station. Authorization code, Phoenix Rising." Miller's eyes widened. "Sir, that's above my clearance level." "It's above everyone's clearance level," James said quietly. "Do it anyway." With shaking hands, Miller entered the code. The main screens to show a hidden facility deep beneath Mars' surface. A young commander named Alex appeared, surrounded by shadows and machinery. "Admiral," Alex said simply. "Is it time?" "The Council is here. 300 ships. They want to ground us forever." Alex nodded slowly. "Then they're about to learn why humans survived on Earth for so long. We're really good at doing impossible things when our backs are against the wall. How long do you need?" James asked. "Give me 30 minutes to warm up the engines." "After that ... Alex smiled. "After that, the galaxy will never look at humans the same way again." The connection ended. James turned to his confused bridge crew. "Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm about to tell you is the most closely guarded secret in human history. 5 years ago, we didn't just develop quantum drives. We built something else. Something the Council said was physically impossible for any species to create." He paused, looking at each of them. "We built a warship that breaks the laws of physics as the Council understands them. They said it couldn't exist. They said the math didn't work. They said human minds were too primitive to even imagine it. Outside, the alien fleet moved closer, their weapons charging. But here's the thing about humans," James continued, his voice growing stronger. "We don't care what others say is impossible. We built it anyway. And in about 29 minutes, the Council is going to discover that humanity's Greatest strength isn't our technology. He looked out at the approaching fleet. It's our stubborn refusal to accept limitations. Asterisk deep beneath the red soil of Mars, in a cavern that officially didn't exist, engineers rushed through final checks on humanity's greatest secret. The warship stood in the underground dock like a sleeping giant. It was smaller than the council ships, only 500 meters long, but every inch of it defied galactic understanding. Commander Alex walked along the ship's hull, running a hand across the smooth black surface. The material seemed to absorb light, making it hard to focus on. This wasn't normal metal. It was something humanity had created by accident while trying to solve Earth's pollution problem. A material that bent space around it, making it exist in multiple dimensions at once. Commander, all systems are green, Chief Engineer Roberts reported, jogging up to him. But sir, we've never tested her in actual combat. The simulations can't predict how she'll perform against real enemies, Alex finished. I know, Roberts, but we're out of time. Earth needs us now. They entered the ship through an airlock that seemed to stretch longer inside than it should have. Another impossibility. The ship's interior existed in folded space, making it larger inside than outside. The Council said such technology required a Type 3 civilization's understanding. Humans had figured it out while trying to make better storage units for space stations. The bridge was unlike any other warship design. Instead of separate stations, it had a single central platform surrounded by holographic displays. One person could control the entire ship if needed. The Council insisted this was impossible, too much information for any biological mind to process. They hadn't counted on human pattern recognition and instinct. All crew aboard, Roberts announced. Only 30 people. That's all the ship needed. Another impossibility according to Council doctrine. Alex sat in the commander's chair, feeling the neural interface activate. Information flowed into his mind, not overwhelming, but natural, like remembering something he'd always known. The ship's consciousness, a hybrid of quantum computing and human intuition, whispered in his thoughts. Let's wake her up, Alex commanded. The ship hummed to life. Not the roar of traditional engines, but a deep vibration that seemed to come from reality itself. The Phoenix humanity had named her after the mythical bird that rose from ashes, began her first real flight. Meanwhile, above Earth, Admiral James watched the countdown timer. 20 minutes left. The Council fleet had moved into attack formation, their weapons trained on Earth's major cities. Sir, they're hailing us again, Miller reported. Krell appeared on screen, looking satisfied. Admiral, your time is running short. Begin dismantling your fleet now, or face the consequences. Ambassador, I need to ask you something, James said calmly. Your laws of physics, the ones that say certain things are impossible, who created them? Krell's eyes showed confusion. They are natural laws, discovered by the Ancient Ones millions of cycles ago. They are absolute. But what if they're not? James asked. What if the Ancient Ones were wrong? What if they only understood part of the picture? Absurd. The laws are proven. No ship can travel faster than quantum speed. No weapon can pierce dimensional shields. No single vessel can generate enough power to challenge a fleet. These are facts, James smiled. Humanity has a saying, rules are meant to be broken. We've been breaking them since we learned to use fire. On Mars, the Phoenix rose from her hidden dock. The cavern ceiling opened, revealing the Martian sky. The ship didn't launch like traditional vessels. Instead, space seemed to bend around her, pulling her upward without any visible propulsion. Course set for Earth, Alex announced to his small crew. Travel time at maximum speed 18 minutes. That was impossible too. Even quantum drives needed an hour to cross that distance. But the Phoenix didn't use quantum drives. She used something humanity had discovered by accident a way to convince space that the distance between 2 points was whatever. The ship wanted it to be dot in the engineering section. Roberts watched the power readings with awe. The ship's core, a miniature star held in a dimensional pocket, produced more energy than the Council claimed any ship could contain. The secret? Humans had figured out how to make the star exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously, multiplying its output without increasing its size. Commander, picking up Council communications, the communications officer reported. They're detecting our launch, but they can't identify what we are. Their sensors can't lock onto us. Alex nodded. The ship's hull existed partially outside normal space. Sensors designed to track objects in 3 dimensions couldn't fully see something that existed in 7. Good. Let them wonder. In 17 minutes, humanity proves that impossible is just another word for challenge accepted. Asterisk. The Council fleet's sensors screamed warnings that made no sense. An object was approaching from Mars at speeds that violated physics. It appeared and disappeared from their tracking systems like a ghost. Energy readings fluctuated between nothing and infinity. On the flagship's bridge, Ambassador Krell stared at the confused technical officers. What do you mean you can't identify it? Ambassador, it doesn't match any known configuration. The sensor operator, a 6-armed creature named Dex, replied with growing panic. The readings are impossible. The object is simultaneously here and not here. It's moving through space without actually traveling through it. Varak slammed his scaled fist on a console. That's impossible. Check your instruments. I've checked them 3 times. Whatever this is, it doesn't follow our laws of physics. Krell turned to the weapons officer. Target it and fire a warning shot. The weapons officer tried to comply, but his targeting systems couldn't lock on. The object seemed to exist in multiple places at once, creating dozens of false readings. Every time the computer calculated a firing solution, the target had already moved not through space, but around it, on Earth. Admiral James watched his tactical display with satisfaction. The Phoenix appeared as a flickering shadow, moving impossibly fast toward Earth. The Council fleet was starting to break formation, confusion spreading through their ranks. 10 minutes until arrival, Miller announced, barely containing her excitement. The Phoenix cut through space like it was water. Inside, Commander Alex felt the ship's unique movement through the neural link. They weren't really traveling. Instead, the ship was convincing the universe that it had always been where it wanted to be. It was pure human logic. If you can't follow the rules, change the game. Commander, the Council fleet is trying to intercept us, Roberts reported. Should we engage? Not yet. Let them see us first. Let them understand what they're dealing with. The Phoenix dropped out of her impossible speed directly in the center of the Council fleet. 300 alien ships suddenly found themselves surrounding a vessel that shouldn't exist. The Phoenix was beautiful in her impossibility. Her black hull seemed to absorb light while simultaneously glowing with an inner fire. She was smaller than any Council battleship, but her presence felt larger. Space itself seemed to bend around her, creating visual distortions that hurt to look at directly. Broadcast on all frequencies. Alex commanded. His image appeared on every ship in the Council fleet, including the main view screen on Earth Station. Galactic Council. I am Commander Alex of the Earthship Phoenix. You came here to judge humanity. You claimed we stole technology because our minds couldn't develop it. You said we were limited by your understanding of physics. He paused, letting his words sink in. You were wrong. This ship is purely human design. Every impossible system, every physics-breaking component was created by human minds. We didn't steal from you. We simply refused to accept your limitations. Krell's image appeared on a split screen. Impossible. That ship cannot exist. Our scientists proved it. Your scientists work within rules they believe are absolute, Alex replied. Humans work with imagination. Watch and learn. The Phoenix began to move. Not in straight lines like normal ships, but in curves that shouldn't exist. She folded space around herself, appearing in multiple places simultaneously. The Council fleet's targeting computers crashed, trying to process her movement patterns. Fire! Fire everything! Krell commanded in panic. Hundreds of energy beams and missiles launched at the Phoenix. They all missed. Not because the ship dodged, but because she wasn't entirely where she appeared to be. The weapons passed through afterimages, hitting nothing but empty space. Then the Phoenix returned fire. A single beam of light shot from her bow. But it wasn't normal weapons fire. The beam existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. It hit 12 Council ships at once, despite being a single shot. Their shields, designed to stop three-dimensional attacks, couldn't block something that attacked from 7 dimensions. The shields flickered and died. The ships weren't destroyed, just disabled. Humanity wasn't here to kill. They were here to teach. That's one shot, Alex announced calmly. We have plenty more. Or you can listen to what we have to say. Roberts whispered to him. Commander, power consumption is minimal. We could do this all day. Another impossibility. The weapon that had just disabled 12 advanced warships had used less energy than a Council fighter's single laser. Humans had learned to multiply force through dimensional multiplication, one unit of energy becoming many. The Council fleet stopped firing. They had no choice. Their most advanced weapons were useless against a ship that existed outside their understanding. Silence filled space around Earth. 300 Council ships hung motionless, their weapons powered down. The Phoenix drifted between them like a shark among minnows, her impossible presence a constant reminder that everything the galaxy thought it knew was wrong. Ambassador, Krell's image appeared on the Phoenix's bridge screen. His 4 eyes showed something they'd never shown toward humans before, respect, mixed with fear. Commander, the Council requests permission to board your vessel for negotiations. Alex looked at his crew. They'd trained for combat, not diplomacy. But sometimes the greatest victories came from words, not weapons. Permission granted. But only 5 representatives. And Ambassador, leave your weapons behind. You won't need them, and they wouldn't work here anyway. 20 minutes later, Krell and 4 other Council members materialized in the Phoenix's reception room. The moment they appeared, they stumbled. The ship's interior space didn't match what should be possible. The room was larger than the ship's hull should allow. Gravity flowed in subtle curves rather than straight down. Light came from everywhere and nowhere. This ... This is impossible, whispered a tall, crystalline being named Zet. The spatial dimensions are folded incorrectly. It should collapse. It should, Alex agreed, entering the room with Admiral James, who had shuttled over from Earth Station. According to your physics. But humans learned something important when we were still living in caves. Reality doesn't care about what should be. It only cares about what is. Vorak, the blue-scaled alien who had been most dismissive of humanity, reached out to touch a wall. His hand passed through it, then became solid again. How? The wall exists in 7 dimensions, Roberts explained, joining them. Your hand only exists in 3. We taught the wall to selectively interact with specific dimensional planes. But the energy requirements ... double quotes. Krell started. Are minimal when you tap into dimensional multiplication. Roberts finished. Energy, like everything else, can exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. One unit becomes many. Your ancient ones never figured that out because they were looking for complex solutions. Humans found it by accident while trying to make better coffee makers for our space stations. The Council members exchanged glances. The most advanced species in the galaxy had been outsmarted by a race that had barely left their planet a century ago. "Show us more," Krell requested quietly. They toured the ship. Every section revealed new impossibilities. The weapon system that fired in multiple dimensions. The shields that didn't block attacks, but convinced them they'd already missed. The engines that moved the ship by agreeing with the universe that it was already where it wanted to be. In the engineering section, they stood before the ship's power core. Through a transparent aluminum window that shouldn't be able to contain it, a miniature star burned with the force of a sun. A captive star, Zet breathed. "We tried for millennia to create one. The gravity alone should destroy your ship." "It would if the star was fully in our dimension," Roberts explained. "But it exists primarily in dimensions 4 through 7. We only pull what we need into our reality. The rest stays safely outside." "How did you discover this?" Krell asked. "Your species is so young. You've had spaceflight for barely 200 years. Admiral James stepped forward. "That's exactly why we discovered it, Ambassador. We haven't had time to learn what's impossible. Every human child asks why and what if. We never really stop. Your ancient ones decided the rules of the universe. We decided to ask if they were more like suggestions. But this knowledge, it could destabilize the entire galaxy," Vorik said. "If every species learns to break physics, then maybe the galaxy needs destabilizing," Alex said firmly. "Your council has held back progress for millions of years because you believed the ancient ones had discovered everything. You limited everyone based on their rules. How many incredible discoveries have you missed because you never questioned the impossible?" The tour continued to the bridge. Alex sat in the commander's chair and activated the neural interface. The council members gasped as holographic displays showed them what the ship was, seeing space in 7 dimensions instead of 3. The universe was far more complex and beautiful than they'd ever imagined. "This is what humans see?" Krell asked in wonder. "This is what humans imagined, then built technology to see," Alex corrected. "We don't accept limitations, Ambassador. It's not in our nature. You say something's impossible? We say, hold my beer and prove you wrong." "Hold your beer?" Zed asked. Confused. James smiled. "Human expression. It means watch this, usually followed by something that shouldn't work, but does anyway. Asterisk." The council chambers on the flagship had never been so quiet. Krell stood before the assembled representatives of 50 species, each one struggling to process what they'd witnessed. Behind him, holographic displays showed the Phoenix impossible, beautiful, and undeniably real. "For 3 million cycles, we followed the laws laid down by the Ancient Ones," Krell began. "We've judged species by their adherence to these laws. We've limited development, restricted technology, all to maintain order based on what we believed were absolute truths." He paused, his 4 eyes focusing on each representative in turn. "We were wrong. The humans haven't broken the laws of physics. They've shown us that our understanding was incomplete. Like children who believed the world was flat, we've been living with a limited view of reality." Vorik stood up, his scales shifting to a color of agitation. "Are you suggesting we abandon everything? Let chaos reign as every species builds weapons like this?" "No," Admiral James said, stepping forward. He and Alex had been invited to address the council, the first humans ever given such an honor. "We're suggesting something better. Instead of limiting species based on arbitrary classifications, why not share knowledge? Why not explore the impossible together? The Phoenix is just our first step," Alex added. "Imagine what we could build if humanity's imagination combined with your species' different perspectives. The crystalline beings might see dimensional interactions we missed. The aquatic races might understand fluid dynamics in folded space better than us. Every species brings unique insights, A small, gray figure in the back stood. It was Elder Yin, the oldest member of the council, representing a species that had been spacefaring for 10 million years. You would share this technology freely? Not freely, James corrected. In exchange, we want the council restructured. No more Type 1, Type 2 classifications. No more limiting species based on how long they've had spaceflight. Judge each innovation on its merit, not on who created it. And, Alex added, we want Earth to have a permanent seat on the council. Not in 1,000 cycles. Now, murmurs rippled through the chamber. A species that had barely left their planet a century ago, demanding equal status with civilizations millions of years old. Krell raised his hand for silence. Before we vote, there's something else you should all know. During our tour of the Phoenix, the humans showed us something. Roberts? Chief Engineer Roberts stepped forward with a small device. When he activated it, the chamber filled with a 7-dimensional view of space. Gasps echoed from every representative as they saw the universe as it truly was infinite, complex, and full of wonders they'd never imagined. This is what we've been missing, Krell said softly. This is what our rigid adherence to ancient laws has cost us. The humans didn't just build an impossible warship. They've opened a door to a new understanding of existence itself. Elder Yin spoke again. I have lived for 1,000,000 cycles. I thought I had seen everything the universe had to offer. But in this moment, seeing through human imagination, I feel young again. I vote to accept the human proposal. One by one, the representatives voted. Some eagerly, excited by the possibilities. Others reluctantly, afraid of change, but more afraid of being left behind. When the final vote was counted, it was unanimous. Humanity would join the council as full members. But more than that, the Phoenix would become the first of many ships built with shared knowledge. Human imagination combined with alien expertise. The impossible made possible through cooperation. 6 months later, Earth's first embassy ship arrived at the Council's capital world. It was smaller than the Phoenix, designed for diplomacy rather than war. But it still bent space around it, still existed in dimensions that shouldn't be. The ambassador was a young woman named Captain Lisa Park. As she stepped onto the council station, representatives from 100 species waited to greet her. Many had already sent scientists to Earth, eager to learn how humans had achieved the impossible. Captain Park, Krell greeted her. Welcome to the galactic community. Truly this time, she smiled. Thank you, Ambassador. We have a saying on Earth. The impossible just takes a little longer. We're looking forward to showing the galaxy just how much impossible we can achieve together. In space above, the Phoenix patrolled, a reminder that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their weapons or technology. It was their absolute refusal to accept that anything was truly impossible. The warship that couldn't exist had changed everything. Not through conquest, but through proof that the universe was far stranger, far more wonderful than anyone had dared to imagine. And humanity was just getting started.